Hello everyone and welcome to Sharpdress Gaming, and today we're here with something that I want to continue on in the future throughout the season. This is going to be a kind of like a review of the meta, see what's going on at the time. I want to do them like quarterly, so we'll do this one, which is pre-season meta. It's essentially a guess at what the meta is going to turn out, and it's based off of what Battle Spot Doubles is, currently, what VGC 2015 was, and then just some kind of other guesses as well. And then I want to do one like every 3 months, so we can like get caught up for people who may dip out or maybe just coming in, and then just a good review so people know what kind of teams are out there, what to be looking for, and what to be building for. So, if you guys like the idea of this, be sure to leave a like down in the likes. I don't know what that's called. Leave a like, leave a comment. I'll be, so essentially with the comments, what I'm going to be looking for is what Pokemon are you guys excited to use in this season? Because a lot of people are concerned that it's going to be really centralized, but I think this year it's a lot more balanced than 2015 was. So I think we'll see a lot more exploration into all of these Pokemon. And there's so many other Pokemon that also match up to what the powerful Pokemon were in 2015 now. So, and with Z-moves kind of open everything up. I like Z-moves in this meta more than I did last season, because there's more Pokemon that can kind of deal with them, and they also deal with some of those Pokemon that couldn't have been dealt with otherwise. I'm going to turn off my phone sound because people at work are texting back and forth, and that's just going to get real annoying real quick. So let's do that. And let's hop right into this here. So one of the big concerns for this season, of course, is what was known as Chalk in 2015. For those of you who weren't around for that or aren't familiar with that word, Chalk is an acronym that each letter was the first letter of a Pokemon that was really common in that team build. Actually, before I even get into that, I should talk about, for those of you who don't know anything about VGC or just coming to this video just to learn, try and get into it. VGC 2018, the rule sets. I do have a video on that. I'll leave that in the description below if you want to get a little more in depth with the rule set. It's doubles battles. You bring 4 Pokemon to a battle. You have a team of 6. Bring 4. Every Pokemon is allowed this season, except for like the cover legendary. So if they appear on the legend, or they appear on the cover of a game, also like Necrozma, Zygarde, Mewtwo, those big name Pokemon, they aren't allowed. Only some legends are. They all have to be a native to Alola. No mythical Pokemon as well, for those of you who don't know, like Mew, Zelby, that kind of stuff. All items are allowed, and then about it. The item obviously has to be able to be obtained in Sun and Ultra Moon, either through trading with Sun and Moon or there. So, and then, yeah, Pokemon has to be native to Alola, so it has to be born there or caught there. So then let's get into it here. We got the Chalk. I just explained that. So we're gonna start in a weird order. We're not gonna go straight in alphabetical order, because I think what people are most concerned about this season is this Pokemon right here, which is the K in Chalk, Kangaskhan, also known as Mega Kangaskhan, also known as Kill Your Whole Team Pokemon. So, Mega Kangaskhan was the powerhouse that ran VGC from 2014, its introduction in X and Y, through even 2016 when they were primal Pokemon. Also in the meta, they were the big box art legendaries that are banned this season in the meta. Mega Kangaskhan was still there bopping fools. So it's legitimate concern to think, oh, this Pokemon's back, it's just gonna be running the meta again. I think this season it'll be a little more contained than it was in previous years. So with these Pokemon, I'm not going to go super in depth. I'm just going to kind of give a brief overview, and I want to be doing like specific videos for each of these really common Pokemon that I want to talk about movesets and that kind of stuff. So just a brief overview, because if I do this with every Pokemon, we'll be here for hours, and I'm only going to cover like the really the Pokemon I think are going to be the most important this season. Again, we're in the pre-meta, so it's really wide open, so this video is going to be a little bit, so stick with me, kids, but we'll try and get through this. So obviously, so in 2015, Mega Kangaskhan basically ran this set. It's going to be Fake Out, Double Edge, Sucker Punch, and Low Kick. And then it was typically Jolly, max speed, max attack. That was a typical Kangaskhan. There were a few other variants, obviously. I'm doing weird things with my hands. There were a few variants, obviously. Another really popular set was instead of Double Edge, you ran Return. Still ran Sucker Punch, but instead of Low Kick, you ran Power Up Punch. This way, you're giving up the you're giving up the power of Double Edge, so that you aren't taking recoil damage from it, and then you're using Return, and you're hoping you can get up your Power Up Punch before something comes in and gets rid of you. Because Power Up Punch, you hit twice with the Parental Bond ability, so you get +2, because Power Up Punch will increase your attack by 1, but if you're hitting twice, you're going to get an increase in 2. And then Fake Out could also be switched for Protect. Some people were crazy and ran Fake Out and Protect. It worked out because people would fall into a false sense of security once they saw one of the other moves. Also, people ran Adamant Kangaskhan sometimes, especially on Tailwind teams, just for a little more power. As a normal Kangaskhan, you can run the Scrappy ability, so you can still fake out ghost types and throw people off that way. Kangaskhan was super versatile. Kangaskhan also gets a lot of like the elemental punches, like Fire. Oops, I can't spell fire. It gets Fire Punch, it gets Thunder Punch, it gets Ice Punch. Drain Punch wasn't as common, but it could still be used. And that's basically what you saw with Kangaskhan. This season, there have been a few changes. So Parental Bond, previously Parental Bond, you'd hit once, and then you'd hit again, and the second hit would be half the power of the first hit. And that's how Kangaskhan got a lot of its KOs. It does have a pretty nice attack stat, being base 125, but the Parental Bond's really what got it its use. And it was also able to get around things like Sturdy and Focus Sash, so just make Kangaskhan crazy good. Kangaskhan's still pretty powerful, but the Parental Bond has been reduced to the second hit only hits quarter damage. Now, I don't use Mega Kangaskhan a lot. I used, like, the only time I really used Mega Kangaskhan was when I first got the game and I first started breeding Pokemon in X and Y. I used a Mega Kangaskhan before it was banned. But, like, in VGC, I've just never felt the need to. I guess I did use it in 2016 quite a bit, just because, again, there's those Primals and Legends. You need that powerhouse that Mega Kangaskhan provided. But yeah, I've never really wanted to. I've never had the urge to use Mega Kangaskhan that much. So, but I did try it out recently. Not for like 2018 meta, just like Battle Spot Doubles. And I found myself missing a lot more KOs than Kangaskhan typically would be picking up before the nerf, especially if you're using Jolly Kangaskhan. So if you want that speed, you're going to be missing out on a lot of KOs. Another really good nerf that, as far as we know, is currently in place, Power Up Punch. So Power Up Punch was how you got that power with Mega Kangaskhan. Especially with Parental Bond, people were going to be wanting to use Power Up Punch a lot more. But Power Up Punch was a TM move in X and Y. That's the only way Kangaskhan got it. That's the only way a lot of Pokemon got it. I don't think it's a level up move for any Pokemon. It wasn't in Sun and Moon. And as far as I know, I don't think I've seen, or I don't know if they have the Elite TMs, all of them. I know, like, I haven't seen them. I know that much. But Power Up Punch, as far as we know, is not in the game. So Mega Kangaskhan doesn't get Power Up Punch. So either you're running Double Edge, taking recoil damage, still not picking up every KO you can because of the nerf in the Parental Bond. And then if you're running Return Mega Kangaskhan, you're missing out on even more of those KOs because you don't have that Power Up Punch. So a lot more Kangaskhan's probably going to be running Fire Punch for those Steel types that want to come in on their fairies, that kind of stuff. Another really big nerf is obviously the terrains. While some terrains help make it Kangaskhan, one of them actually really hinders it, and that's going to be Taku Lele's terrain, the Psychic terrain, because Psychic terrain stops priority moves from hitting grounded Pokemon. So Fake Out you can't be using on grounded Pokemon. Sucker Punch can't be used on grounded Pokemon anymore. So Kangaskhan's just gotten a lot of nerfs. We'll still see Mega Kangaskhan quite a bit, obviously, because it's still a really good Pokemon, but it's been reined in more than it was previously. So that's basically what I'm going to say about Mega Kangaskhan at this point. I think that's about it. That's all I have. That was a lot of Mega Kangaskhan. I'm not hoping on doing that much for all of these Pokemon, but we're going to move into the first letter of chalk now. Cresselia. Cresselia is going to be on every team. 100%. So Cresselia is one of the best Trick Room setters because it's so big and fat. It can take 2 hits from Pokemon. With the introduction to Z moves, it's going to be a little harder for Cresselia to do, especially the Ghostium and the Darkanium Z. But it's still going to be pretty legitimate to get those that Trick Room off. Also, you just slap the Mental Herb on there, can't be taunted. You don't have to worry about Fake Out with Cresselia, but there's ways around that too. Run your own Fake Outers, that kind of stuff. Cresselia also gets access to Icy Wind. We have been given the move tutors. I meant to say that at the beginning of the video. Spoilers! I'm going to be talking about move tutors in this video. So if you guys don't want to know the move tutors, I don't think that's a big deal. But if you guys think it's a big deal, I would suggest leaving at this point, coming back once the game's out. Then you can know. Yeah, Icy Wind is back in this game, so you can do speed control that way. So you have 2 options, speed control with Cresselia. You can also use Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave obviously got nerfed, so it isn't 100% accurate, and you don't get paralyzed as often. But that was something Cresselia used to run as well. And you also have access to, Ice Beam, Psychic, that kind of stuff. Naturally attacking moves. You're going to see Cresselia everywhere. It's going to have different, tech moves. It has Helping Hand, too, right? Yeah, Cresselia gets Helping Hand, too. So, and especially with those new berries, the, Iapapa berry, Cresselia could just be bulky AF and live forever. So, we'll see Cresselia, for sure. It's just a good Pokemon to splash on any team, and that's why Chalk was so good. All of these Pokemon, you can just splash on any team, and it works. So, after C comes H, Heatran. Heatran has only gotten stronger through this meta because of the Tapus all being Fairy type. Heatran 4 times resists any Fairy type moves. So say Tabu Lele, who's going to be really popular. Heatran resists both of those stabs really well, then can hit super effectively with Flash Cannon, which is going to be one of its big moves here. Also is going to be getting Heat Wave through Move Tutor. It gets Earth Power through Move Tutor. Substitute Heatran was a popular Heatran. You can run a bunch of different items. Shucka Berry to decrease the ground type moves. Air Balloon to just avoid those ground type moves. Heatran also got another really cool tech for those water types. So Heatran has Solar Beam, and people would run I think it's Power Herb that gets around that turn, or run it in the Sun even, alongside Charizard. You can Solar Beam. But now you can Grassinium Z those water types. And I'm not going to do any calcs in this. That'll be more for the individual Pokemon videos. But Grassinium Z Solar Beam just plows through things. So even the bulkiest of water types. So Heatran's going to be everywhere, 100%. It obviously does have that 4 times ground weakness, which even with Shucka Berry, you're only taking 1 Earthquake ever. So that will be a thing. And Tectonic Rage might even get around Shucka Berry. I'm not 100% on that. That's something you'll have to look into. But there is that. Now we'll move on to A, which is Amoonguss. Amoonguss, I don't think... I still stand by the idea that Amoonguss probably won't be as popular as it was in 2015 and even 2016. I think it'll still be there, just not in the same extent. And that's all because of terrains. We'll talk about the Tapus in a little bit, because Tapus are going to be their own ordeal. But there's 2 different terrains that stop Spore, which is one of Amoonguss's big things. Spore, putting Pokemon to sleep. The Electric Terrain and the Misty Terrain. Electric Terrain specifically stops sleep. Misty Terrain stops all statuses. So Amoonguss is going to have problems in that department, but it is part Poison type, which is good against those Tapus. Every Tapu is weak to Poison. You get Redirection with Rage Powder, and Amoonguss is just a little baby bulky boy himself, so he can take a bunch of hits. You can put Rocky Helmet on there, you can have Regenerator, so you can swap them out, get some more health back, switch them back in, Giga Drain. Amoonguss will be around, I just don't think to the same extent as it was previously, especially with Tapu Lele going to be really popular. It just gets bopped by Tapu Lele every time. So, Amoonguss. And then AL will be Landorus. Landorus Therian is going to be everywhere. You got Choice Scarf Landorus Therian. You got Assault Vest Landorus Therian. You got Groundinium Z Landorus Therian. Life Orb I've seen a few times. I don't think Yachi Berry will be around too much, but it's possible as well. The Intimidate ability is just so good. Landorus essentially from last season, if you take Arcanine, who is your Intimidate Pokemon, Intimidate support, and also hit really hard, and you take Garchomp, who just hit really hard, was pretty fast, and mixed them together, you got Landorus. And plus Landorus is immune to Earthquake, which is always good, because Earthquake's going to be spamming from your opponent as well. Excuse me. You also get U-turn, so you can recycle your Intimidate. It's going to be having superpower, so it's going to be good against that Kangaskhan, and even Heatran if you don't want to lock yourself into Earthquake. Landorus there is just going to be really good. On the other side of the coin, Landorus Incarnate. He should just be right down here. Actually, I think he's OU, or U, so he's going to be weird. We're just going to look at his sprite, honestly. Landorus the Incarnate, we might see it show up like randomly throughout the season. There was the popular, for a time, the American Sand team that ran Tyranitar and Landorus instead of Tyranitar and Excadrill. So that's a possibility. We'll probably see it for a short blip if we see it at all. That's my thoughts on that. Actually, it also depends on. Oh wait, Sand Force is the natural ability. I thought it was going to be Sheer Force. If we get Sheer Force, we might see it a little bit more, but I think we'll only have Sand Force available because I don't think the hidden abilities will be the Pokemon that we're able to find in the game. Because Game Freak has confirmed that we can catch legendary Pokemon in this game. All legendary Pokemon are catchable. And then for the last spot, so Chalk only takes up 5 Pokemon, so there's that 6th slot you could just throw things in on. Thundurus was a really common Pokemon to throw in there. Sylveon was another one, but I think there's a lot more powerful fairies than Sylveon. I mean, we'll probably see it. People will still run it, but Thundurus, I don't think we'll see Thundurus Incarnate as much as we used to. And that's because of how many nerfs the sport Pokemon has taken. So Thundurus Incarnate was just used to be so good. You just spam Thunder Wave, spam Swagger, Taunt, hit big things with Thunderbolts, hit things with Hidden Power Ice, and it was great for Thundurus Incarnate at that point. But then you get the Thunder Wave nerf, where it's not 100% accurate, and you don't get paralyzed as often. You get the Prankster nerf, where Dark types aren't affected by Prankster anymore. We won't have a ton of Dark types in the meta. There will be a few, but even then, it's still kind of, Thundurus is just kind of like, oh, I don't like that. Tabu Feeny, with its Misty Terrain being in the meta, Thundurus can hit it really hard, but it can't spam like Swagger, because that terrain stops confusion. And plus Swagger is less accurate and you don't get hit by confusion as often anymore either. So Thundurus is just kind of fallen from grace, and this is going to be a point where we see the switch over to Thundurus Therian. I've already seen a ton of Thundurus Therian, and Thundurus Therians are really good tech to have on a team, especially with like Tapu Cocoa being pretty prevalent. Because of the Volt Absorb ability, you can switch in on Thunderbolts and be immune to that, plus get health regeneration. And then you just hit really hard things like Thunderbolt, Focus Blast, Hidden Power Ice, Grass Knot, Psychic, Sludge Bomb. Thundurus is also a pretty common Z-move user, or Life Orb, Choice Specs, Choice Scarf, that kind of stuff. So be prepared to see a lot of Thundurus Therians as well. So that covers Chalk. I have so many Pokemon to go through, it's not even funny. So, Tapus. We've been talking about Tapus a lot. You know the Tapus if you've been around VGC 2016. They were everywhere. They'll still be everywhere, but not to the same extent. I don't think teams will be focused around them. They'll be more splashed into teams. So Taku Cocoa going to be one of the most popular ones, as it has been. It's just really fast, hits pretty hard in its terrain. People have been relying on special Taku Cocoa. Physical Taku Cocoa hits harder, but then you also have to rely on recoil moves like Wild Charge. It doesn't get a physical fairy type move, so that's more why you want to go over the special, because you get Dazzling Gleam as a fairy type move, and Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Discharge. Hidden Power Ice might be a little more common just because of there's more Pokemon that are 4 times weak to Ice now, and they aren't weak to Dazzling Gleam. As with last season, you just had to worry about Garchomp, and you could just Dazzling Gleam it a couple times and be gone. But now Landorus are going to be taking that better. Salamence you can still hit with Dazzling Gleam pretty well, but I think Hidden Power Ice is going to be coming through a little bit more as a tech option on these Tapus, or this Taku Cocoa at least. Probably a lot of Choice Scarf, Life Orb, Electrum Z, maybe even Ferium Z. Not a lot's going to change with Taku Cocoa, I don't think. Not a lot has to change with Taku Cocoa, but it's going to be a really good tech Pokemon. Stopping Amoonguss from putting Pokemon to sleep. That kind of stuff. Then we have Tabu Lele. Tabu Lele is going to be huge this meta once again. One of the favorite sets currently that I've been seeing is Choice Scarf Tabu Lele. You take this little lady without a gender. You give it Psychic, you give it Moonblast, you give it Dazzling Gleam. I'm assuming I think people have been running Thunderbolt, but I think once the meta starts settling down and people know what's happening, I think Hidden Power Ground will come out. Maybe Hidden Power Fire. Hidden Power Ground is going to be for Heatran, which is what I assume is going to end up happening if it hasn't already. And then you slap it. I'm thinking people go Modest, I assume. And then you have a really fast Tapu who just kills everything. And then you sit that next to a Mega Metagross. And Mega Metagross gets the boost from the Psychic Terrain with the Zen Headbutt. And Mega Metagross and Tapu Lele are just killing the entire field. We'll talk about Mega Metagross a little bit more later, but that's going to be one of the big archetypes, Lele Metagross. And it's going to be scary. There are a few counters to it. Things like Heatran I just mentioned, but obviously Metagross gets Earthquake. This thing can have Hidden Power Ground. That's kind of scary. Steel types in general are going to be your counter to that, but obviously they're gonna think about that because they're not just going to let steel types beat them. But yeah, Tapu Lele, I'm assuming a lot of them are going to be this Choice Scarf variant. They can be Life Orb or Psychinium Z as well. But if you see it with the Metagross, it's typically going to be Choice Scarfed. At least at the beginning of the meta for sure. Tabu Feeny, nothing is bad about a bulky water type. It only has 2 weaknesses. Tabu Feeny has 3 because of its fairy typing. And it can just soak up hits, and it can just mess around with other Pokemon. Feeny has a little bit of a harder time messing with Pokemon because of its Misty Surge ability. The Misty Terrain stops any status conditions happening from Pokemon on the ground, so you can't Scald Burn. You'd have to get rid of your own terrain to do that. But we were talking about previously with Mega Kangaskhan, Feeny can actually help Mega Kangaskhan quite a bit. You can self-swagger with the terrain because you can't get confused, and then Kangaskhan's getting its +2 where it wouldn't have had it because of not having Power Punch. Kangaskhan can't get burned that way. You can protect a lot of your physical attackers that way with Tapu Feeny. Muddy Water for accuracy drops, Moonblast to drop some special attacks, Taunt, Calm Mind. Choice Specs Tapu Feeny has been the thing lately. We'll see if that sticks around or not. But yeah, Tapu Feeny for sure. Tabu Bulu, I don't think we'll see much of him. Just like last season, he'll show up every once in a while. Tabu Bulu is actually pretty popular at the first internationals, but I think he'll go away pretty quick too. I mean, obviously he does stop like Landorus, Therian from spamming Earthquake as much, so maybe we'll see him come around when people are kind of figure that out. But we'll be talking about Omega pretty soon that just kind of puts Bulu away, so I still don't think Bulu will get its shining moment. I really like Tapu Bulu. He's one of my favorite Tapus to use, especially if you follow the channel. I use them all the damn time, but I don't know. But we're going to hop over to those Megas right now, and we'll talk about the one that's putting Bulu away. Mega Salamence. Mega Salamence, I think, will probably be more popular than Mega Kangaskhan. Even with the decreased Aerial 8, I think it was 1.5 power before, or 1.3. It was one of those two. But it's 1.2 now, which is significant. It still hits like a monster, but it's less of a monster, I guess, technically. So, Aerial 8, for those of you who don't know, changes normal type moves into flying type moves, giving you stab, and then it increases the power by 1.2. So it's a lot of increase. So you got things like Hyper Voice that are hitting both Pokemon. You got things like Double Edge, which are strong physical moves. Typically they're special Salamence, but sometimes they're mixed, so that is things you have to worry about. You get Dragon Dance to boost your speed and defense, Draco Meteor, just a really big dragon type move. It gets Fire Blast and Flamethrower. It gets, what's another really common Salamence move? Earthquake's not super common, but it is something to think about with Salamence. And then you just like max speed, maybe Adamant. Naughty on this one, I guess, because it's physical partially. Typically they're jolly or timid. And then you just kill everything. It's basically what Salamence does. Speaking of killing everything, Mega Metagross is here. Mega Metagross in 2015, was it around? Yeah, it was. Really didn't do... It was there for a little bit. The really popular Mega Metagross set for a while was Protect, Iron Head, Substitute, and Zen Headbutt. And that's what people ran. You'd get up a sub, sit behind it. Iron Head doesn't miss, which move tutor for Iron Head is back, by the way. So you don't miss, whereas Meteor Mash would miss. Chance to flinch as well, which is really nice, especially with the speed that's on Mega Metagross. That base 110 outspeeds a lot of Pokemon. And then Zen Headbutt also flinch. And then with Lele's Psychic Train now, boy howdy, you got a Mega Metagross on your hands. You can also have Earthquake. You can also have Bullet Punch. If you pair it with your Taku Lele, you can't Bullet Punch in terrain. Just remember that. Tough Claws boost is crazy. I mean, a lot of these Pokemon, there's not much to say. They just do stuff. And again, this isn't an in-depth detail with these Pokemon. I'll do that separately. Yeah, Mega Metagross. Mega Mawile won't see as much play as the other Megas, I don't think. But it is a Mega to be looking for. Because again, especially Trick Room. If you're seeing a Trick Room team, the Mega is most commonly going to be Mega Mawile just because it does have that speed to work in Trick Room. Some other Pokemon also work in that. But it gets Iron Head, Play Rough, and that hits most of the meta super effectively right there. You can run Sucker Punch, you can run Swords Dance, you can run Rock Slide, Fire Fang, if you really want to be that one. Yeah. Mega Mawile, again, I don't think it'll be super popular, but it will be there. Mega Charizard Y is actually one of the most popular Mega Evolutions right now, surprisingly. I mean, it was pretty popular even in 2015, but I think even more so now, especially because it resists Tapus, other than Taku Cocoa's Thunderbolt, and Tabu Feeny's Water, but you got the Drought. So most Charizards run Protect. You can run Tailwind. You can run Heat Wave to hit both of the opposing Pokemon for super big damage. Its special attack is sky high at 159, and then you boost that Heat Wave by having it in the sun. Not a lot of things want to take that. It's going to 2-hit KO a lot of Pokemon, and being a base 100 Pokemon isn't bad at all. It's in that weird speed where it's not quite enough for some Pokemon, but it's more than enough for a lot of other ones. You can also run Solar Beam, and this is a typical Charizard set, slap Protect on there. I like to run Ancient Power just to hit other Charizards, but that's up to you, really. And then that Drought just gives you a lot of utility as well, and we'll talk about Sun in just a second here. But speaking of weather, another Mega that's going to be a lot of weather. I haven't run into these yet, but I've seen a lot of people battling them, and it's a Mega Swampert, especially now with the Mega Speed switching over that turn. So typically, you had to wait till the next turn to get your speed on your Mega Evolution. So a lot of people would be protecting all the time, that kind of stuff. But now it's that turn. So if you have Rain Up, Swift Swim is activating that turn, and Swampert's the fastest thing on the field almost every time in that situation. So like turn 1, you can just blast off an Earthquake and a Waterfall that's boosted in the rain, Ice Punch. That's about what Swampert runs. It gets Super Power though, it gets Rock Slide, and it just hits like a monster truck, 150 base damage. I'm saying a lot of things are hitting like a monster truck, mostly because I don't want to swear. But yeah, and it's got the bulk to hold out, so especially because we now have Pelipper, which we'll talk about in a little bit. You can Earthquake next to Pelipper and not do damage to it, which is really fun. So Swampert's gonna be scary. Get ready for that. And then, actually, this is one of the most popular, not the most popular Megas, but one of the most popular teams that I've seen recently is a Mega Gardevoir team. So Mega Gardevoir, it was Mega Gardevoir, Amoonguss, and Friends, but now it's something else. I don't know what name they came up with it. But you get Trick Room on Gardevoir, Pixelate Hyper Voice. Of course, Pixelate was also dropped, just like Aerialate, but it still hurts. Psychic or Psyshock, and then Protect typically. But you can also run like Calm Mind. It gets Thunderbolt, Energy Ball. It's a really versatile Pokemon. A lot of these Pokemon are just like, oh, it's versatile, and that kind of stuff. Obviously, there will be you'll see random other Megas, but these are going to be the most popular 6 And then Mega Kangaskhan, obviously, as well. Mega Lopunny might show up. I don't know that for 100% or not. Yeah, I'm sure you'll see more. These are just the more popular one, or what I'm talking about right now. Other legends that we'll see. Suicune. Suicune is another one of those bulky water types, but this one gets access to Tailwind, which helps with speed control. You get Scald, obviously, to burn things. It's a real bulky boy. Ice Beam KOs that Landorus, Salamence kind of stuff. Garchomp. You can do Resto Chesto if you really want to, but that's more of a single set. It does show up every once in a while, but not as common. And Suicune's the most popular of the 3 legendary beasts. Entei has also made an appearance in the past. One of the most common Entei sets was like Sacred Fire to get those burns and hit really hard. Substitute to just hide with leftovers. Snarl to decrease special attack stats. Protect typically. Because you can't get Extreme Speed Entei because it's an event Pokemon. You can't use event Pokemon. So yeah, Suicune's gonna be more popular in Entei, but we'll see Entei. We'll see like a Raikou or a Raikou every once in a while, but not very often. The Swords of Justice, Terrakion is probably going to be the most popular out of those. The beat up combination with Whimsicott, where Whimsicott hits Terrakion with beat up, and because it's a dark type move, it's going to give you the Justified boost, which increases your attack stat by 1 stage. And then as long as you do it like turn 1, you hit 4 times, so it gets automatic +4. And then Terrakion's pretty fast at base 108, outspeeding those base 100 Pokemon. You can rattle off a Rock Slide if you're up against a Charizard. I can't spell rock apparently, or my fingers don't want to. Close Combat for Mega Kangs. This thing does get Iron Head for Tapus. Protect. Double Kick was kind of a common move on Terrakion in 2015 for Smeargle, but I don't know that we'll see a lot of Smeargle. We'll see a few, but it won't be as common because Dark Void isn't around anymore, plus Electric Terrain. We'll see a couple though, I'm sure. Quick Guard. This thing also gets Quick Guard, so you can stop Fake Outs. If you aren't using the Taku Lele on your team, this is a good way to stop priority as well. Items. Focus Sash was pretty common, but I think we'll see a lot of Fightinium Zs or Rockinium Zs. This could be a really good Z move Pokemon. Life Orb, Lumberry. There's been a lot less Lumberry recently. I wonder if we'll see it come back in 2018, but again, with Feeny, if you're really worried about stats, you just run Feeny. So, but the other swords, you can't use Keldeo because it is a mythical Pokemon. Virizion, we'll only really see Virizion if like Gastrodon starts showing up. Virizion could also be good against Swamperts because of that Leaf Blade, 4 times super effective. It also has close combat for Mega Kangaskhan. I think it also gets Quick Guard. It does also get Quick Guard. Stone Edge was a popular move to take on Charizards. Obviously, it doesn't hit as well. Protect. Does it get Rock Slide? It does not. So yeah, that's why people had to run Stone Edge on this thing, which is unfortunate because it's less accurate. I'm wondering if we'll see any Cobaline this year. In the past, Cobaline really wasn't used at all, but with the introduction of the Tapus, it gives you a really strong Steel type. It does have the Fighting typing, so it's not resistant to Fairy, which isn't as good, but I saw somebody team building with one, and I think it's an interesting Pokemon to look at. But again, it'll be the least popular of the 3 of those. Zapdos, not the mythical birds, legendary birds. Zapdos is the most common one used of those. You get leftovers usually. I run Safety Goggles sometimes when I'm in a sand team or a hill team. It also Safety Goggles also makes you immune to powder moves like Rage Powder. We talked with Amoonguss. Rage Powder redirects the attack to the Pokemon using Rage Powder. If you're wearing Safety Goggles, it doesn't redirect, which is pretty nice. But Zapdos is a pretty good utility Pokemon as well. With Tailwind, that speed control, you get Thunderbolt, which is typical. Volt Switch, Hidden Power Ice is a typical move on Zapdos. Roost, just for recovery. I've seen a lot of Electrium Z Zapdos as well. It's a pretty good Z move user. Apparently I can't spell that. I'm just going to leave it. So Zapdos, really that's the only legendary bird you'll see. I can't remember what year it was. Moltres was around. I don't think we'll see Moltres at all this year. Maybe like one rogue Moltres will come through in a tournament. People will wonder about it and maybe try it out, but I think it'll peter away instantly. Especially with Mega Charizard. Mega Charizard just fills that role that Moltres would be filling anyway, and does it better with the drought. And it's faster, so, and it has a higher base special attack. So Moltres just doesn't have it. And Articuno is just, don't even talk about Articuno. It'd be interesting to see an Articuno, but I don't think we'll ever see one, to be honest with you. And then the last legendary I'm gonna mention, Latios. I don't know that we'll see a lot of Latios. I think it gets Tailwind as well. So Tailwind, it is really fast, hits really hard with Psychic, Draco Meteor. It could be a good Z move user, but I don't know that we'll see a lot of it because its typing rules are kind of covered by a lot of other Pokemon. We'll see though. It'd be interesting to see if Latios shows up or not. But those are like the basic legendaries you're gonna be seeing the rest of. But UBees are gonna be back, of course. There are 2 new UBees, or 3 new UBees, technically. There's Assembly, which I'm gonna try my best to use. I don't think it'll get used a lot. I don't think it's as good as UB Burst competitively, but I'm gonna do my damnedest to make a competitive UB Assembly team and use that some tournament. But UB Burst will probably be used a bit. I'm not gonna go over UB Burst in this video just because it's not technically released yet. Also the other UB, which I'm not gonna mention because it's spoilers. But Pheromosa, interesting Pokemon. We saw it like come and go in 2017, but I think it'll be pretty good in this meta just because it's so freaking fast and it hits a lot of the most common Pokemon for super effective damage. You have Focus Blast / High Jump Kick for Mega Kangaskhan. You get Ice Beam for Landorus and Mega Salamence. You get Poison Jab for the Tapus. That's all you need. That's all you need right there. I don't know which way you'd want to go with the fighting move. I personally, if I were to run this, I'd go Fightinium Z and then the special route. But you might want to put a little more in attack for the Tapus. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't used Pheromosa ever, so it'll be interesting to use it this season. And I'm sure like it'll have a wave and then it'll go away. I think it'll be one of those kind of Pokemon. Celesteela. Not a lot of people are using right now, but I'm sure it'll come back. Celesteela is just a big bulky boy. Leech Seed, Substitute, Heavy Slam, Protect, some Flamethrower users. That's all you really need. Leftovers. It's Celesteela, it's not rocket science. Just bulk it out. Kartana. Kartana's weird, because it's still a good Pokemon, but I think it's going to go away, to be honest. Like, it may have some flares every once in a while. Some of these Pokemon will have flares, but they won't stick around the entire season. UB Burst kind of knocks down Kartana. It's not as fast, but it resists every stab Kartana has and then just KOs it dead. But Kartana does get Night Slash, which would be its only real counter to the UB Burst. So that's all I'm going to say about Kartana. It does get Tailwind now too. Spoilers. It won't say it here, but it does get Tailwind now. I don't think it'll be a really good Tailwind user, but who knows? Who knows? Buzzwole. Again, it'll have the same kind of stuff with VGC 2017, where some teams will use it, but it won't get a huge following. Buzzwole would be a really good counter to Mega Kangaskhan because it is so defensively bulky. You can take those hits and then kill Mega Kangaskhan. So interesting to see how Buzzwole will show up. Nihilego is going to be probably one of the better UBs. It's really fast, obviously, at base 103. It gets Power Gem, which hits like Mega Salamence. It hits Fire type Pokemon. But yeah, Power Gem's really good. Sludge Bomb hits all the Tapus. Hidden Power Ice typically is run on the Nihilego as well. It's a nice Trick Room setter. It's not all there on the defensive side, so it does have a problem with Landorus. It does naturally outspeed it though, So I've already run into Choice Scarf Nihilego, and it was a problem, so I could see Choice Scarf Nihilego becoming a thing as well, or Trick Room Nihilego. And then Xurkitree, I just threw Xurkitree on here because I like Xurkitree. I don't know that we'll see too much of him. We didn't even see too much of him last season. He did do pretty well at Worlds, but like with Taku Cocoa being so popular, we won't see a lot of other electric types. Xurkitree, Zapdos, will probably be it. I think I mentioned it. Oh, I meant to mention another Mega Evolution. So, where are my Megas? Hey, where are my Megas at? It's right here. So, another Mega that may show up is Mega Manectric. That's because you get Intimidate from the Manectric, you get Lightning Rod from the normal Manectric, so you can pull electricity attacks away. Really fast, heavy hitter. That's all I'm really going to say on Manectric, to be honest. It is faster than Tapu Cocoa, which is fun. I don't know that it's useful, but it is fun. And then let's go. Next point I have to make, Fake Out support. So Fake Out support's always been really good in VGC. Even with the introduction of Psychic Terrain, people still ran Fake Out support because it's just that good. Salazzle will be around with Fake Out support again. Salazzle we didn't see a lot of in 2017. I don't think we'll see a lot of it in 2018 either. It will show up every once in a while because it does have that unique Poison Fire typing, which is 4 times weak to ground. But it does 4 times resist Tapus as well, just like Heatran does, or Fairy types. So you get Fake Out, you can have Sludge Bomb for those Tapus, you get Flamethrower, because Fire type moves are good. Taunt, it's a really fast Taunt user. And there you go, Salazzle, you can Focus Sash that sucker, and everything's good. Togedemaru will be around for the Lightning Rod, and it has Fake Out, Spiky Shield, Fake Out, Spiky Shield, Spiky Shield, Encore, and Zing Zap. You got your Togedemarus, you got your Incineroar, which has actually been pretty popular lately as well on the Gardevoir team. That Incineroar typically runs Assault Vest, Snarl, Flare Blitz, Fake Out, and Darkest Lariat. If the hidden abilities are released for these Pokemon and it gets Intimidate, that's going to make it it'll make it a lot better. We've also been leaked that it gets Knockoff as a move tutor move, and it also gets Super Fang as a move tutor move. So it's like you're taking Scrafty, who has Fake Out and Knockoff as well, and Super Fang. Use your Drain Punch, and giving it a Dark typing, which gives it a little more offensive maneuvering. It makes it so it's not weak to Fairy. Scrafty's 4 times weak to Fairy, and Incineroar is neutral. So that's pretty nice. And Incineroar's attack stat is a butt-ton higher than Scrafty's too. So there is that. There is that. So I already talked about Scrafty. Hariyama will be a nice Trick Room Fake Outer, as it always has been. Close Combat, Knockoff, Heavy Slam, Feint. Assault Vest typically is the item, or it could be Flame Orb with the Guts ability, but of course Tabu Feeny kind of messes with that as well. Another Pokemon, fighting type Pokemon, that gets Fake Out and Intimidate is Hitmontop. I'm sure we'll see those. It was in the World's winning team in 2016. And then I have Liepard here. It'll be interesting to see if Liepard shows up because of the Prankster nerf, but the Prankster nerf also helps Liepard because they can't get taunted. So it can sit there and spam Fake Out. It can sit there and spam Encore. It can do... Does it get taunt? It does get taunt. It gets Foul Play. It's kind of like Persian without the bulk, but with the option to Prankster, which gives all of those moves here priority. I don't know that it gets Parting Shot. Does it get It does not get Parting Shot. So that's one thing that Persian has over it. It does get Foul Play though. So Liepard and or Persian, Alolan Persian that is. Bulky versus Prankster is essentially your choice there on those two Pokemon. I think those are the most notable Fake Out users. Let's actually take a peek at that. Take a little peek ski. Let's see what other fake out users are of note here. Blastoise. Alolan Raichu, I think will actually drop quite a bit in usage. It could still be around, but I think it'll drop in usage compared to before. Ludicolo, we'll talk about in a little bit. Fake out users that are going to be common. There's a lot of Mienshao, maybe. I don't really know that. But after fake out, we're going to talk about Tailwind. Tailwind is a move tutor move, so a lot of Pokemon get Tailwind. Some of the more common ones, Crobat, because it's so fast and it has inner focus, so it can't be faked out. Talonflame gets priority Tailwind with Gale Wings. We saw smatterings of it in 2017. Whimsicott gets priority Tailwind as well with Prankster. Mandibuzz, just bulky boy. Overcoat, typically with a Seed, Misty, or Psychic Seed to boost its special defense. Then it can set up Tailwinds. Aerodactyl, another fast Tailwinder. But if we look at Tailwind, let's see who all gets a Charizard. I'm just noting notable ones. Zapdos we've talked about. Crobat. Scizor. Some Scizors run. It's not very common though. Pelipper. We'll talk about Pelipper in a little bit. Salamence. That's a common move on Salamence as well. I forgot to mention that. Latios. Drifblim. I don't know that we'll see Drifblim. It was kind of cool to see it. I mean, it'll show up, I'm sure, but it won't be as common as it was. Hydreigon probably won't run. Volcarona might run it. We'll talk about Volcarona in a little bit as well. That's going to be the more common ones. It is, again, it is a move, so there are a few of the Alolan Pokemon aren't on here, like Kartana gets it, and that kind of stuff. We have Redirect. There's a lot more Redirectors than there was in 2017, so we got Clefairy, who was around, get the Friend Guard ability, defend your Pokemon, and then follow me. Also Clefable, obviously. Volcarona gets Rage Powder, which this is the one everybody was super excited for to come back. Rage Powder, Heat Wave, Quiver Dance, all the fun stuffs. I can't find my Q button. Togekiss, also follow me. Bulky Pokemon, immune to Earthquake, Fairy type. This is good stuff in general. Used to also run Thunder Wave, but again, that nerfed the Thunder Wave. I don't know how much we'll see of it. It also gets Tailwind. Same with Volcarona. So Togekiss does it all. And we do have to remember with Rage Powder, grass types are immune to it. Pokemon Safety Goggles are immune to it. Pachirisu, I'm sure we'll see smatterings of, because it won Worlds one year, so everybody loves Patsurichu. Well, I can't say that word. Nuzzle, Super Fang, follow me. I forget the last move it carries. But it has Volt Absorb, so it can't be hit by Electric-type moves. All the fun stuff. I'm getting less and less detailed as we go through here, because there's so many Pokemon. Look, we still have all these to go through. I'm going to leave heavy hitters for last. We're going to get into weather here. So we have weather setters and weather users. Pelipper and Politoed are our two rain setters that we can use. Pelipper has become more common just because in a doubles format, I mean, in a singles format, I'd go Politoed every time, honestly, in my own personal opinion. Politoed's a little bulkier, it hits harder, it's not weak to as many things as Pelipper, I guess you could say. I don't know. Well, Pelipper is weak to electricity by 4, which is a big thing, and it's weak to rock. I think that's it. So yeah, they both have 2 weaknesses. Pelipper just has a ×4 weakness. But Politoed, I'm sure we'll see some Politoeds, but I think Pelipper is going to be more common, just because it gets Tailwind access, it gets Wide Guard access. Scald is pretty fun. Hurricane gives you another stab in the weather. You get the U-turn, so you can get out of there to reset your weather later. And then weather abusers, we've already talked about Mega Swampert. Ludicolo we mentioned with Fake Out, but with Assault Vest, this thing gets really bulky. It only is weak to Poison and Flying, which aren't common. Poison is becoming more common because of the Tapus. You get Fake Out, you get Scald, you get Ice Beam, you get Giga Drain, and that's a typical Ludi. Sometimes this will be Hydro Pump. We'll also see the Golduck treatment, where this thing will have the Z-move on the team. So you have a really fast, really heavy-hitting Z-move. Golduck's special attack is higher than Ludicolo, if I remember correctly, but I still don't think we'll see a lot of Golducks, to be honest, yeah. Special attack is higher by, I think it's only about 5 points. Because Golduck's 95, Ludicolo was 90, if I can spell Ludicolo. Come on. Yeah, it's only about 5 points, so it's not a huge difference, but it is still a difference. We've also got Kingdra. Kingdra has what can run Waterium Z, it can run Dragonium Z. I don't know why I feel the need to type this out every time I say it. Life Orb. It also gets Muddy Water. Draco. Dragon Pulse is an option. Physical Kingdra is an option with Waterfall. Outrage. Outrage isn't as reliable though. That's why you'll see a lot more special Kingdras, because Outrage picks a random target, whereas you can choose your target with Draco Meteor and Dragon Pulse. But he also gets Iron Head, Flash Cannon, Hydro Pump, Scald, the fun stuff. Clear Smog. So those are going to be your typical rain Pokemon that you'll see. You'll see a lot of rain teams. Sand, we'll see. Sand is still pretty strong. So you got Tyranitar, who's going to be your most common Sand setter. There's also Gigalith and Hippowdon. You probably won't see too many Hippowdons. You'll see a couple Gigalith, but for the majority, it's going to be Tyranitar. You can just see the difference in the bulk. It does lose a little bit of defense, but gains some special defense. And its attack is higher, right? Its attack is lower, but it has more HP. So, you know, it's kind of your choice. And it has two stabs, which is fun too. A lot of people run like Choice Scarf Tyranitar next to Ectodrill, who has the Sand Rush. So it's just two really fast Pokemon. And then this could be your Groundinium Z, or it could be Life Orb. You get Earthquake, Iron Head, which is good for the Tapus, Earthquake. Drill Run if you want single target ground type move. Rock Slide for flinchies. Tyranitar just does it all. He's got Rock Slide for flinchies. He's got Crunch for Cresselias. You can run Ice Punch and or Ice Beam for those ice weak Pokemon. Earthquake if you really want to. So Sand will be around. Will it be as popular as 2015? I'm not 100% sure on that yet. I also threw Lycanroc on here just because when I was using the Sand team, I ran into a lot of Lycanroc. I think Lycanroc will depend on how good its Z-move is, because it does stop terrains, so that could be an interesting factor into the meta. We'll have to see how that turns out. I can't remember, or I don't know, actually I should say, Lycanroc Dusk Form, is Dusk Form? I don't know its ability. I don't know if it has Sand Rush or if it has something else dumb, but we'll see. I think Garchomp. Garchomp's just good to mention. It's going to be taking a backseat to Landorus and Salamence, but it will still show up every once in a while. And then Sandvale. I put it on the Sand team because of Sandvale. Rough Skin is more common, but Sandvale can be a cheeky ability there. And we know Garchomp. We've seen him all season. Next we have Sun. Torkoal won't be the most dominant Sun setter anymore. It's going to be Mega Charizard Y. But we could see some Torkoals on Trick Room teams. Venusaur is a nice Chlorophyll Pokemon sitting next to Charizard. Gets that speed. You can go for the Pledge moves, Grass Pledge, Fire Pledge. Fast Sleep Powder. Of course, Terrain is a problem. Sludge Bomb for those Tapus. And Giga Drain. Or Protect. Whatever. You obviously wouldn't have both Grass Pledge and Giga Drain. I don't think that would be together. Lilligant could also be on Sun teams, but I think Lilligant's really only going to be run with Torkoal. I don't think it'll be a Lilligant Charizard team, because Charizard's already fast enough you don't need to be using after you, like you would be with Torkoal. Plus, especially with Heatran being common, I don't think Torkoal will be around as much, because Torkoal don't really run too many moves outside of Fire-type moves. Heatran obviously has Flash Fire, so like Eruption wouldn't be hurting the Heatran, and Heatran's going to have Earth Power. Torkoal gets Earth Power, so I guess you could do that. Could be fun. And then like Solar Beam, Earth Power, Solar Beam, Eruption. And then you have to rely on Eruption not killing you, or you not taking a lot of damage, so Eruption still kills things. So Sun, I think it'll just kind of be Charizards there. I don't think it'll really be Sun teams as much as like Rain and Sand. And then Hail, that's going to be the same thing as Sun. We'll see Alolan Ninetales for sure with the Aurora Veil. It's really good, especially for teams that have setup Pokemon on them. But you could use Sand Slash alongside it to get rid of those Salamence and Landorus quicker. But again, it's a lot of... We don't know because it's pre-meta. These are all guesses. These are all guesses and from what's being done on Battle Spot doubles. We have Trick Room, so more speed control stuff. Cresselia is going to be the most popular Trick Room user, no doubt. But Porygon 2 is another one of those really bulky Pokemon. It does have the disadvantage of having to hold the Eviolite to be able to have that bulk, so you can't hold Mental Herb to not get taunted. You get faked out left and right. Knockoff is coming back in droves because it's a move tutor move, so your Eviolite's going to get knocked off all the time. Being a normal type though, it does have a lot of versatility. Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, has that download and or trace you could use. Recover, so it gets a nice steady recovery move. Oranguru, it's going to be weird. I don't know that we'll see Oranguru, to be honest, because I think Cress is just going to take that wheel and go with it. But I think Oranguru could still be good in this meta, especially because it's one of the most reliable Trick Room setters with Mental Herb Inner Focus. Can't be faked out, can't be taunted. It can live 2 hits most of the time. Z-moves kind of make it iffy, but Oranguru is really bulky too, so it can take those. Oh, excuse. I don't know what was just happening there. I was like yawning, hiccuping. I don't know what was happening. But Trick Room, you also have the Instruct, so you can double hit. Instruct with Mega Kangaskhan, that could be a scary thing. You don't even have to use Trick Room, you can use that cheeky Choice Scarf Oranguru. Instruct Kangaskhan, and it's essentially hitting 4 times. Well, 3 times, kind of, with the Parental Bond. But that's scary stuff. Well, it'll be interesting to see if Oranguru shows up or not. I slapped Slowbro on there just to have another Trick Room Pokemon to talk about, but it's Slowbro. I don't think we'll see too much of him. He'll show up every once in a while again. Again, he'll show up every once in a while. And now that we've kind of covered all of these Pokemon that we'll possibly see... wait, we have a couple more. Sorry. Heavy hitters. So these are Pokemon that just hit really hard, and they're going to be good on teams. And they didn't really have any other groupings to put them in. So with Aegis Lash typically ran a weakness policy. I've seen a lot of Ghostium D Aegis Lash, and that's what you can deal with Cresselia with. You get King's Shield to protect yourself and drop any physical attackers by 2 stages if they hit you. A lot of Aegis Lash are going to be special, and that's only because there's so many Intimidate users around. So this gives you a more reliable way of attacking because there's not a lot of special attack dropping Pokemon. So Shadow Ball, Flash Cannon, you can run Shadow Sneak for priority. But one of my most favorite moves on Aegis Lash is Wide Guard, because you can just spam this and it stops Earthquake, it stops Rock Slide, it stops Heat Wave, Muddy Water. I'm trying to think of other really popular spread moves. Hyper Voice, Dazzling Gleam. That's really it. Eruption if Torkoal shows up. So Aegis Lash, I love Wide Guard. I think a lot of people don't utilize Wide Guard as much as they probably could on their teams. There's a lot of fighting types that get Wide Guard. Excuse me. Ones that we talked about already, Hitmontop, Hariyama. And there's also Conk Elder. Conk Elder is really interesting because it was a really popular Pokemon a few years ago, 2013, I believe. I saw it a lot, but it's dropped from grace. Like Assault Vest Conk Elder was nothing to mess with. Flame Orb Conk Elder, especially now that Flame Orb or Burn does less, you get Drain Punch, you get Mach Punch, you get Knockoff, usually Ice Punch. You can run Wide Guard though, obviously as well. I honestly, like, Conk Elder probably shouldn't be even mentioned in this video, but like I want Conk Elder to come back. But with those Tapus, it's going to be hard for him, so it'll be interesting. I'm going to try to use Conk Elder, to be honest, but we'll see. We'll see. We shall see. Scizor, either the Mega or the normal variant is good. Bullet Punch isn't as strong as it used to be because of that terrain, and Scissors is going to be a Pokemon you want to use against Taku Lele, and when it's in the terrain, it can't use Bullet Punch. It's a problem. So a lot of Scissors run Iron Head as well. Swords Dance, the common move. Feint to break protects. I can never spell feint right. Feint with an E. Bug Bite is a move 2 to move that's back, so you get that Technician boosted Bug Bite. Roost. Protect. So Scissors, another. The Steel types are just going to be good this meta. And that's why Charizard and Heatran are going to be running around everywhere too. Heatran's the better Steel type because it doesn't get bodied by other Heatrans, but then it gets hit by Earthquake, so who knows? Who knows? Hydreigon, surprisingly, will be around. I'm 100% sure. Even with it being 4 times weak to Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast, it's still going to be around, especially with Choice Scarf. You get Dark Pulse, Draco Meteor. The one thing you do have to worry about, so this is something we looked up in a stream that I was watching, Moxie Boosted stream, Misty Terrain. So how it works is the Pokemon that's on the ground taking the hit, if it's a Dragon type move hitting that Pokemon, it's reducing damage in Misty Terrain. Even though Hydreigon's levitating off the terrain, it's whatever's getting hit by that Dragon type move. So that will be a problem. You'll want to pair Hydreigon with a different terrain to get rid of the Misty Terrain. But especially with move 2 moves, Hydreigon gets a lot of cool moves. It gets Earth Power. It does get Flash Cannon through TM. It gets Flamethrower. So Hydreigon just fills that role of, I don't have this type of move on my team, but I have a Hydreigon, so I can put it on there. So Earth Power, Flamethrower are typically what I switch in between with my Hydreigons. I'll usually run Dark Pulse. If I'm running Choice Scarf, I run both Draco Meteor and Dragon Pulse, just so I don't have to lock myself into a move that's dropping my attack stat every turn. And then I go either Earth Power or Flamethrower, depending on my team. And then if I run a Life Orb or a Z move Hydreigon, drop Dragon Pulse for Protect. Ferrothorn. Ferrothorn's not necessarily a heavy hitter. I mean, it gets Gyro Ball and Power Whip, which are really heavy hitting moves, but it's typically going to be a stall Pokemon, kind of like Celesteela. You just kind of Leech Seed stall until you can get something with a Heavy Slam, or Gyro Ball in this case. But I didn't have anywhere else to put Ferrothorn, so again, Steel types are just going to be good. They always are. And then, now that we covered heavy hitters, I just wanted to kind of end out this video. I know it's been a long one. Thank you guys so much for joining us and sticking through the entire thing. But I just kind of wanted to go over Pokemon from last season that either are going to go away or will be underrated, at least. I know we've talked about a few of them already, but these ones just didn't really fit into any other spots, and I wanted to talk about them. So ones that I think will go away: Alolan Marowak and Arcanine. Alolan Marowak is kind of an up in the air if it'll go away or not. I personally think it'll go away just because of Landorus. Is essentially the only reason I think it'll go away. And like Aegis Lash is a better ghost type in my opinion. But it does have that lightning rod ability, so there's always that little niche that maybe Alolan Marowak will be around. Who knows? And it does hit pretty hard with the Thick Club. But Arcanine, I'm pretty certain will go away. Arcanine was a real novelty Pokemon in 2015. If you saw Arcanine, you're like, oh my gosh, they're using Arcanine. Whereas in 2017, you saw it everywhere. That's because Arcanine was one of the better Intimidate users at that point. Whereas now we have Landorus, we have Salamence, and they're just better in general. So I think Arcanine's going to go away. I could be wrong. Maybe everybody's seen the light with Arcanine now and wants to keep it around. I don't know. But I don't think it will stay around, to be honest. Especially because Heatran, too. Landorus, Heatran kind of take both of Arcanine's team roles away from it. So it just loses a lot of its use. A lot of Pokemon that I think are underrated last season, that started off really good and then went away, or stayed through the whole thing, but may not get that same play this season that they probably should. So Araquanid was super popular at the beginning of the meta with Trick Room. Trick Room kind of went away, so Araquanid went away with it. But I think with its high special defense, the Water Bubble ability that will decrease Fire-type moves, I think Araquanid would be a really good answer to Heatran, honestly, because Heatran can't really hit Araquanid. With Water Bubble, Heat Wave's not hitting it. Solar Beam is neutral, so and with its high special defense, the Grassinium Z is not going to be KOing it. It resists Flash Cannon and Earth Power, so Araquanid's just a really good answer to Heatran. It also takes on Landorus pretty well. It gets a Wide Guard. The big problem for it's going to be like Taku Cocoa and Salamence, but I think Araquanid could actually be pretty useful. And now that, like, I didn't think about it as much before I threw it on there. I actually just kind of threw it on there because I'm like, I haven't used Araquanid in a while. But then once I'm actually talking about it, it's such a good counter to Heatran, so who knows? Who knows? Try out Araquanid. Waterium Z with Araquanid. That was the boy back in the day. Gyarados, I think, again, it took the backseat to Arcanine last season. I think it'll take it to Landorus and Salamence this season, but I still think Gyarados is a really good Pokemon that can be used really well, especially with Dragon Dance. If you can sneak in a Dragon Dance, Gyarados just comes in real hard. So if you get the Lightning Rod user, or the Lightning Rod Pokemon, it works out pretty well. You can save yourself from Tapu Cocos. When I used, like, I didn't use Gyarados till the end of the season, and when I used them, I loved them, because I would just Lightning Rod away a Thunderbolt and set up a Dragon Dance, and then I was just killing Tapu Cocoa next turn. It was really cool. Not a lot of Pokemon can take on Gyarados. There's more Rock Slide users this season with the Landorus, and Tyranitar, but I think Gyarados could see some use. Alolan Muck will be interesting to see if it sticks around or not. It was really popular at the beginning of the season, and then it kind of died away. It was still there, though. It was a really good answer to all the Tapus. But again, Landorus. We just say Landorus, and it just explains everything. The poor Muck just gets hurt real hard by the Landorus. But with that Figgy Berry Gluttony, it takes one Earthquake from a Landorus, and then you can Figgy Berry Gluttony it up. But it won't take a Tectonic Rage, I can tell you that much. It's kind of the same thing when it went up against the Garchomps. It can live like one, and then hopefully do its job before it faints. Got Milotic. It surprises me how often Milotic is underused for such a great ability and competitive, because once it gets intimidated, it increases its special attack by 2. And considering how many of the Intimidate Pokemon are just weak to Milotic's attacks in general, last season we had Arcanine, which would go down to, Scalds after competitive boost. Ice Beam is going to be KOing Landorus and Salamence this season. I think a lot of it is that Milotic isn't super fast, but with Recover, you can bulk out a lot of moves with Milotic. Just go max defense, max HP, and his special defense is just already there that you don't have to worry about it. You can go Leftovers, Citrus Berry, the Ayapapa berry now, or the Aguav, or whatever 50% berry you want. But there's also another really cool item, the Adrenaline Orb, that you can use. It increases your speed by 1 when you get intimidated. So not only are you getting +2 in special attack, you're getting +1 in speed. You do have to put a lot of speed into Milotic to outspeed like Choice Scarf Landorus and Mega Salamence. And even then, if it's a Choice Scarf Jolly Landorus, you don't outspeed it. Milotic doesn't have that much speed, but you can outspeed Adamant Choice Scarf Landorus, which is the more common set. Milotic also gets access to Icy Wind again, so you can get that speed control as well. Yeah, we really didn't see Milotic last season, surprisingly, but I think it'll probably come around a lot more this season, hopefully. Snorlax was the Pokemon of VGC 2017 towards the end of the season there, especially alongside Mimikyu. Did we talk about Mimikyu and Trick Room Centers? I know it was there. I can't remember if I talked about it or not, though. Wait, was it there? Mimikyu! Yeah, it was there. I didn't talk about it. Mimikyu will be there, though. You know. Mental Herb. It's the same thing as Oranguru, where it can get faked out, or Taunt if you have Mental Herb. Z, Destiny Bond, pull things away. But yeah, Snorlax has that new fun berry to use, the 50% berry, with Gluttony, so it activates at 50% instead of lower than 50%. And then you got Protect, you got Belly Drum, you got either Return or Facade typically, and then Recycle, so you can get that berry back after you get Belly Drummed. You can run Curse, you can run High Horsepower on this guy for Alolan Marowak. I think, Snorlax will be around at the beginning, and then like Kangaskhan will bop it down with low kick, and Landorus will superpower it, and it won't have the same stability as it did in 2017 because there's so many more powerful Pokemon to take it on. But I think it'll still be good. I just think it'll see less play than it did in 2017. In my own personal opinion. I'll probably be proven wrong, as with many of these Pokemon. But then Mudsdale is one that I think, again, because Landorus is around, I think it takes a back seat. As much as I'd like to say, hey, meta's a little bit better now. It's a little more balanced. The problem is Landorus is still good. It's still just so good that a lot of other ground types just can't stand up to it. So they don't get to see the play that they deserve. Which sucks. Because I like Landorus. I need to stop typing that because it shows part of... it doesn't show my whole number, so it's not even worth talking about. But, yeah, Landorus just takes away a lot of opportunity for a lot of other ground types. But Landorus does his job. And that yawn means I have to end this video because we've been going on forever. If you guys are still here, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any remarks on what you think the meta will be pre-season as we go into it here, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. Again, be sure to leave a comment of what Pokemon are you excited to use this season, because there are so many Pokemon that we can choose from, and honestly, almost every single one of them can be used in some form or another. I think this season more than any other, to be honest. Anyway, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Again, I apologize, this went so long. But a lot of Pokemon to cover. Hopefully the quarterly ones won't go as long because they'll be a little more focused, because we'll actually have more things to look at for that kind of stuff. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Be sure to be looking out for specific videos on some of these Pokemon, not all of them. I can't make that many videos, but we're going to go more in depth with these Pokemon, see how to use them in VGC, and we'll see you guys next time. Like and subscribe if you have not already, and stay sharp, everyone.